My name is Frank Sonder. I'm a freelance consultant, more or less. I'm probably one of the tech guys, as you would say. So I was one of the first one who could just spell blockchain. But in my work, I rather deal with the question what impact technology has on us as a society. I think the challenge is to really understand what co-working is about. So, and as this is not just another kind of office concept, but a new way of working and collaborating together. So with all these kind of sharing economy, which is, for instance, not understood well enough. So sharing means I give you my car, you give me your apartment to share with, and not another company just providing that, like Airbnb or DriveNow. To adapt to that fundamental change is, I think, one of the biggest challenges also for the workplace. So first of all, I think excitement is good, but today we need to see also the let's say dark side of technology always. So whether you talk about artificial intelligence, which is one of my topics. If you look at a very nice piece of technology like the new Apple Watch 4, it's interesting to see. So it's really nice designed, a really great piece of technology. But then you have to look on the implications. So what does it mean if a smart device like this gets important for your health? It can save your life. It can help Alzheimer people to live better. But on the other side, for instance, the downside, the dark side is more or less maybe you get too much afraid because you're measuring yourself all the time, and there is a 10% of misjudgments of technology, of course, or of data. So you always have to be careful. So what is exciting? But of course, artificial intelligence is exciting when you see what becomes possible. And right now we are in a position where we really have to figure out how we will apply all that. It's also called machine learning, where a machine learns something what we don't teach the machine. So you don't say it to a machine, do that and that, because that's just simple algorithms. But if there is something that develops more or less on its own, which is fascinating, but already something which is really scaring, because there is something like a black box existing. So you know the input, you see the output, but you don't know how this happened. For instance, AlphaGo was winning in the Japanese board game Go. Then the researchers and developers say, okay, we actually didn't really know how it worked. So we have to be prepared for that situation, that we don't know how the black box is functioning inside. So, and that's already happening right now. So you give a lot of responsibility to a machine for self-driving cars, for instance. Look, for instance, at HR. So there are algorithms already used for potential employees. The algorithm tells you, okay, these are the right candidates for your company, but they maybe don't tell you why. So these are all things that happen if we give that responsibility halfway to the machine. One field is surely blockchain technology. So it's not so much devices coming out, because we have so much devices. So if there's another device coming, so we say, okay, well, fine, but that's not this kind of one more thing from Steve Jobs. But if you think about potential applications for blockchain, which have the potential to change all of the business companies are doing, their role that might be taken over from a piece of technology. What I think is fascinating is when you have smart contracts, for instance, so contracts that run just by software code. So all the routes written in software and self-execute. This is fascinating technology. And again, it's not so much tangible anymore like in the past, but future innovations will be much more, software, invisible more or less. The benefits is for sure that we have an easier life. So we don't get lost in a city we don't know, etc., etc. We can book a room at a hotel or Airbnb, so that's fantastic, of course. The danger is, the biggest danger for us is about data. So about our privacy, we are not the masters of our data anymore right now. So, and that's the most dangerous situation because we can't decide anymore. Other people decide about what is done with our data and who has access to this data and so on and so on. There are good applications and tools you can use because of the data recorded. But I guess everybody more or less is a bit afraid of who is taking care of that data. Coming back to the Apple Watch example, if somebody is recording my heartbeat, it should be my data. So, and that is one of the biggest challenges we have to solve somehow, because otherwise we get lost again. So I think the most important thing is to make clear for what purpose these data are measured and stored, how they are stored. And again, the company has to find a way to ensure the employees where the data are stored, that they have access to it, then that they can deny access to it, or that they can take the data away if they are leaving the company, for instance. So it's all about trust. If you measure how much people spend on Facebook or whatsoever during their work time, then you don't trust the people. And so the main answer is you have to work on the trust issue from all the different angles. I can't think about one actually. So it's there are a lot of nice offices. When I address the big challenges as before, then of course we have to think more about how a future workplace has to look like and how flexible it is. And if you just add some playful elements, a fantastic nice space is good, but that's just a precondition. In these days, coming back to the question of if you record data from your employees to improve something, you have to make that visible, accessible, and we have a lot of nice workplaces nowadays. We have nice chairs, nice tables, nice surroundings, but it's always the question what lays behind. Yeah, I hope so. I think, as I said, I'm a tech guy, so I really hope that a lot of things are changing. On the one hand, we develop really much further, talking about artificial intelligence and all that stuff. But on the other hand, everybody who moves into a new building, in a new office space, knows about these problems. How you use your computer, how easy it is to adopt your chair, your workspace, if you change that 10 times a day. Okay, we have flat screens right now, but they are still screens. And we have a lot of cables hanging around and so on. Wi-Fi or a good phone connection, for instance. Really simple things like this. I'm living in Berlin. We have a terrible mobile connection all over the city, so in the city center. So solve these problems first, and then we can think about all these fancy sci-fi stuff, I would say.